Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday night, so that means it's time for dinner with Debbie. I'm coming to you a little bit later than usual. It's almost 7 o'clock. It's just the day got away from me. I'm just going to be honest with you. And I will just start off with a little bit of a personal note. Many of you who, are friends of mine on Facebook, know that my brother is having a surgery today, and I thank you so much for the messages and texts and posts and all of the prayers. Greatly appreciated by me and my family. I don't have any updates yet. It's part of the reason I'm a little bit late coming on. I was really hoping to have an update before we came on, but everything seems to be going okay, and we're just thinking positive thoughts and hoping that Jimmy gets through this surgery with relatively unscathed. So thank you so much for all the support. I really, really, really appreciate it, and so does my family, because they see all the messages as well. So in any case, we still have to eat dinner tonight. So I'm really excited about this meal that I'm making tonight. It's actually, once I discovered this recipe, I make it all the time. I love it. And so does Mark and anybody else that I've served it to. It is a seared scallops with warm Tuscan beans. So this is pretty much a complete meal, almost, in a pan. We sear the scallops, we take them out, and then we finish it and then put them back together. It's just really healthy, and it comes together so quickly. I think if you want to have like your best results, of course, I think your best results are going to come if you get the very best ingredients that you can. And so for me, the star of the show is going to be the scallops. So I got them from, no surprise, ProFish. And I think I've talked about ProFish before. You can, and I'll put a link to ProFish in again, because anybody in the Northern Virginia area or greater DC area can get this beautiful seafood from ProFish. Very competitively priced and just such high quality. I had the salmon last night. And it was like melt in your mouth. The King Oro salmon that I made last night, it was just delicious. It'll probably be a dinner with Debbie somewhere down the line. But in any case, so I got a container of scallops, and the first thing I did was take them out of the container, and I've got them drying on a sheet pan here. I just soaking up, any excess liquid. I want to dry them off, because getting them kind of dry will get like the best sear on them. So I've got them over there. And the other good thing about this recipe is there's very few ingredients. Because of how this dish comes together, I decided for my wine pairing tonight, I thought a Sauvignon Blanc would be a really good pairing, because with the white beans and kind of like that kind of like fattiness or kind of density to it, I thought the acid of the Sauvignon Blanc would really cut through that really nicely. And the recipe does call for a little bit of wine for cooking, I think like a quarter of a cup. So I happen to have in my refrigerator a bottle of the 2022 Stone Tower Sauvignon Blanc Reserve. So I've opened that. And I'm not sure that you've seen this glass before. This is my Riedel, varietal specific, because, I'm fancy like that. This is a Sauvignon Blanc glass. And you might notice that it looks a little bit like a champagne flute. But what you might not be able to tell is that the opening at the top is actually more narrow than what your traditional champagne flute would be. And that is on purpose. There are no accidents at Riedel. They're, Germans. They're very precise. This is to place that wine on your tongue in the place that you'll like enjoy it the most. So I think this is a very delightful wine. I've enjoyed it before. I think it'll be an awesome pairing for our scallops tonight. So our recipe tonight comes courtesy of Cooking Light. It's actually this great book that I picked up because, you know, I don't collect a whole lot of things. Maybe horses. I collect horses. That's another story. That's a whole nother video series. But I also like to collect cookbooks. And so this is the Cooking Light Complete Meals in Minutes. Great recipes in 15, 20, 30 minutes. And that was really appealing to me because I love to like get things done in 15, 20, or 30 minutes. Because you know what? It always takes longer than what they say in the book. Right? Let's just be real. So this is a 15-minute recipe and it'll take me 30 minutes. But hey, at the end of the day, I like that. A 30-minute recipe, it's awesome. So we're going to dive right in here. And so what we're going to do is take about a tablespoon of olive oil. And you know I love my California Olive Ranch. And I've got my larger, I think this is the 12-inch ceramic coated. This is the Williams-Sonoma brand. You know, I've been testing out the ceramic coated cookware from Williams-Sonoma. I tested it against myself, just like very informal testing, against their green pan, which I really like the green pan. The green pan is a really nice pan, except that the Williams-Sonoma brand was on sale. It was like on like whatever like this line is, they were like discontinuing it, so it was like marked down. So I have to say I didn't like it enough to like forego the sale of the Williams-Sonoma. So this ceramic coated 12-inch ceramic coated pan works really, really well. It's so nonstick and I love it. So much better than like the old fashioned, you know, nonstick. So I put about a tablespoon for my scallops are on my tray here, and I've got them on paper towels because I want to really dry them off. The one thing I will note about these ceramic coated is that you don't really get that much, like full coverage. Like you feel like there is like a little hole there. So you really have to shake it around and really get it on the pan there. This is feeling kind of hot. And I have this on medium-high heat. And I'm just like reading so what I'm going to do with these scallops is I'm going to season them with salt. Hey Vicki, I saw that you lost connection. It should be back because I have it back. We had a really bad storm here yesterday, and there's a few trees down, and I know a few people have lost power today. Hopefully everyone has their power back. So, and I like to season my, you know, really high up so that it is, you know, seasoned kind of evenly and not just like a clump. All right, so my pan is feeling pretty hot, so I'm going to take my scallops and I'm going to place them in the pan. And I've got probably more scallops than we can eat. But that's okay, Mark will usually eat them. And I don't know if you can hear them sizzling. I'll get the microphone down a little bit lower so you can hear them. Gosh, these scallops are just so big and good looking. Ooh, ow. I burnt myself a little bit. You get the tray out of there. So let me get my microphone down. Hopefully you can hear that. That is sizzling. Sizzling away. I'm going to get my glasses on because, you know, I'm of that age. So we're going to cook them 2 minutes on each side or until they're done. And because it's non-stick, I'm going to be using the proper utensils. We've got silicone-coated tongs here. And the beauty of this is that because the non-stick works so well, I don't have to worry about anything sticking or any scallop sticking. Let's see if I can give you a little view here. Let's see what they look like. Oh, not even close. We want to get a good sear on there. I'm going to let them go a little bit. So this is a good time to have a sip. Let's talk a little bit about the rest of the ingredients while the scallops are cooking. So the rest of the ingredients come together really quickly. So I've already pre-chopped about a cup of onions, and I pre-chopped some basil. We only need a couple of tablespoons of that. I have some crushed red pepper. I have some minced garlic. Now you could do that on your own, but I'm just using the jar. We have a quarter cup of dry white wine. I also have some no salt added chicken stock. I don't make my own. I could, but I don't. And I've already rinsed and drained a can of cannellini beans, which is a white bean. You can use any kind of white bean. And I have 5 ounces of baby spinach. So let me check these. I'm going to flip these bad boys over. And these are actually starting to, they're spritzing a little bit, like they're really kind of like, you know. So I'm going to get my screen out. It's another little gadget that I love. This is a splatter shield, and it's also odor protecting, so I'm going to throw that on top of my pan. Hey, Martha. So that will keep like the splatter, the oil, and everything else from splattering up. So we've got that going for a couple of minutes. So they look really good. So it won't take very long. Oh, hi, Mom. I know we're all waiting for more word. So my mom and Martha, her friend, are watching from down in Portsmouth. We've all been in communication throughout the day about my brother's surgery today. We're all kind of waiting for word. So I'll say again, Martha and Mom just got on, so they didn't hear. Like, I've been kind of blown away by how many people have been praying for our family, how many people have messaged me, emailed me, you know, posted on my post this morning. We really, really appreciate everything, and we'll take all the prayers, totally take them all. You know, it's taking a bit longer than what I anticipated, so that's like why it's a little bit stressful, but you know, things take as long as they take. So, all right, I'm going to check these scallops again. I'm going to flip them over. So the sear on these, because I'm doing them on a non-stick with olive oil, you can probably use less olive oil than you normally would on these types of pans because they really are so non-stick. You don't need so much oil to get them to not stick. If you want them blackened, you really need to do them kind of a different way. Maybe on a cast iron skillet. I think that would probably work really well to get them more blackened. So these are done, so I'm going to put them on a plate. And I'm going to keep these warm. How many scallops do I have here? So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's like 11 scallops here. So it's probably, this is probably enough for like 3 people. Hey Lloyd, yeah, I know. It's not done yet. We can't eat until it's done. So I'm going to put these aside and keep them warm. And if you feel like your pan needs more oil, you can throw a little bit more olive oil in it. I know. Hey Jeff, how are you? So it's so funny, Jeff Peck just came on to watch. I've known Jeff Peck since we were in elementary school. Back at Shelter Rock in Danbury. So funny. That's the best thing about Facebook. It's like all these people that would have been lost to you forever are suddenly refound. So I added a little bit more olive oil to the pan and just letting it heat up. And so I'm going to add my 1 cup of chopped up onions. This is actually my favorite part, if I'm going to be honest. Putting together the vegetable part of this. So I got the onions in here. I need to add my garlic. This is minced garlic. It's calling for, I think, 2 garlic cloves minced. So I've got the onion in here. It's sauteed a little bit. I just want it to kind of start to get soft, and then I'm going to add my garlic to it. Wow, this smells great. So 2 garlic cloves is roughly 2 teaspoons, but I always use more of the minced garlic. Garlic's really good for you. That's what I tell myself anyway. And garlic doesn't need to saute very long. You don't want to burn it because then it gets bitter. Now it really smells good. Oh, you want to see the seared scallops? Hold on. I've got to get the other part ready. All right, so I've got the garlic in there. Now I'm going to stir in, I'm not going to measure this, but it's calling for a 1/4 cup of dry white wine. I am using the Sauvignon Blanc that I'm drinking. And let that kind of get incorporated there. It usually bubbles up a little bit when you put an alcohol into the pan like that, which this did. We want to cook off the alcohol, but leave the flavor. Let's take a look at that. See, yummy. Yeah, that's coming along great. And so once most of this liquid evaporates, we're going to stir in the broth. And the broth is about a half cup. Let me look. Oh, it's 1 cup, which is going to be about, I better measure this. Let me get my measuring cup. When it's the smaller amounts, you know, I just eyeball it, but when it gets to be more, I like to actually measure it. So I'm just going to use what's left in here because it's just a smidge over a cup. Hey, Janina. Wow, it's like Danbury Day. So Janina Radichowski I've known her since high school. So Jeff Peck since elementary school, Janina since high school. Cheers, guys. All right, so as you can see, most of my liquid has evaporated here, so it is time to put in the broth. So this is chicken stock. I use the no salt version because we're salt sensitive in this house. And we're going to let that come back up to a boil. So in addition to this, I'm going to add in my beans. Now, I've had my beans sitting in a strainer over the sink. So I'm grabbing them. And this is just 1 can of cannellini beans. And the beans, when you get them in the can, they're already cooked. So they really just need to be warmed up. And, you know, my husband has been begging me for more dishes with beans in them, more legumes. So this was our compromise because, you know, I really like pasta. He'd prefer legumes. What am I going to do, right? Oh, I realized I forgot to put the red pepper in here. That was supposed to go in with the onions. So I'll probably add it just a little bit later. But when you guys are making it, go ahead and follow the recipe. Because as you know, every week I will put the full recipe in the comments. When the video is downloaded, you'll be able to see it on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. But I also post the entire thing to my YouTube channel. So Debbie Meighan Realtor, you'll see I have some property stuff, but I also have a playlist just for Dinner with Debbie. And all the Dinner with Debbie videos have the complete recipes and links to any of the little gadgets or things that people seem to like. So I'm going to be posting a link to the Sauvignon Blanc glass that I'm using tonight from Riedel. And I think that, oh, also for the Williams-Sonoma ceramic coated pan. And you know what? I don't get any endorsements, guys. I am not an influencer. I'm just your friend. So I'm putting these out there because people ask me and that's what they want to know. So you know, it's easier for me to put it out that way than to just reply to a whole bunch of comments and texts and things. So, and if there's ever any questions that you guys have or things that you want me to make, I'm happy to give it a whirl because I'm very adventurous in the kitchen. I'm willing to try anything. So in the kitchen. So that's sort of where I come from, you know, just kind of adventurous with it. And I get really bored really quickly with food. So, all right. So that is coming to a boil. Let me see what else I got going on. See if I didn't forget anything else. So this is supposed to cook for 2 minutes, which I think has been pretty close to that. And then I'm going to be adding the spinach. And then I'm going to be adding the scallops back to it. So my scallops would be a lot more seared looking if I had done them in a cast iron skillet. If you're looking for a scallop that has like kind of like a blackened kind of look on the you know, on the edges of it, this is not going to be that type because I use this kind of pan, but it is cooked. So, wow, and a lot of this came out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to put the scallops back in and let them finish cooking. Ouch, I burnt my hand. What you don't want to do is overcook your scallop, because then you get a rubbery scallop. And there's nothing sadder in the universe than having a rubbery scallop, especially when you pay like $25 a pound for good scallops, because that's painful. All right, so I'm going to open up my container of spinach. You know, these plastic containers, they make them like so hard to open. I don't really get it. Why is it so hard? All right, so this is a whole container. Yes, Jeff, there is. There's absolutely nothing worse than overcooked scallops. Maybe overcooked shrimp. Any kind of seafood that's overcooked is not, I'm not a fan of. So it looks like a lot of spinach, but you know, it really wilts down. So I'm going to start putting the spinach in. And believe it or not, this container is 5 ounces. And I kind of put it in handful by handful because it starts to overwhelm the pan. Get rid of that. And I'm going to start kind of incorporating this in and getting this spinach to wilt down. So, and I just keep working it, and as you can see, the spinach is wilting. So I think if I were going to make this recipe again with these pans, I think I'd probably use 2 different pans. I would use a cast iron pan to sear my scallops so that I get like that look on the scallop that I want, get that really good sear, because there's nothing better than a cast iron skillet to do something like that. And then I would do the vegetables in here, or maybe I could do the whole thing. Maybe I could do the whole thing in a cast iron skillet. You know, I've become a big fan of cast iron, but you know, I've been really trying to use these ceramic coated ones, ceramic coated saute pans, so that I can get an idea, you know, of which ones I like best. Well, I can say that this is extremely non-stick. So there we go. We are completely wilted with our spinach and completely incorporated. And we're going to remove this from the heat. So I've just turned the burner off. And then to serve this up, we're going to put this on a plate and just garnish with a little bit of chopped basil. So let me put together a plate. So this is pretty saucy. I think the other thing with these ceramic coated plates is that you really don't need as much oil as you would normally use, or probably as much liquid, because like when that spinach came out, like so much liquid came out of that spinach as it wilted. So it's almost, I have to say, it's almost like a soup. So this is what the plate looks like. And what I did get is also some nice breads. I got some rustic bread to go ahead and sop up some of this juice. So I would definitely recommend that. We're going to garnish with a little bit of basil. Oh boy, that smells good. And let me put this down and show you guys what it looks like on a level surface. And there you have it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So this is a really healthy dish, a really good dish, a very flavorful dish, and I hope you give it a try, and I will see you next week.